remarkable that you would be willing to say this in public as you're being filmed. That's wild to me.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
This is another episode in the, child labor saga in the United States today. More and more children are working, and more employers are violating the law in employing children because, it's not illegal for minors to work. That you just have certain restrictions, and more employers are violating these restrictions and abusing children, and exploiting children. And the issues that Republicans have identified with this situation is that it's illegal. The exploitation and the abuse and all of this is fine to them. They just don't think it should be illegal. They think that's the problem with this situation. And so across the country, we are seeing moves by Republicans, pushed by business owners, pushed by poultry plant operators, chambers of commerce, places like this, councils of bosses, to loosen child labor laws, to make it easier for capitalists to exploit children and get away with it. And we saw another episode of this, another bill in Indiana to do just that. Last legislative session, we saw a bill in Indiana from an Indiana Republican to allow 14-year-olds to go into the coal mines again. Literally the most crazy thing you could think of when you're talking about child labor, the quintessential, the reason that child labor laws were created, children in the mines, they want to go back to that. Now, most people are not that extreme, but we do have another extreme bill in Indiana where this guy is trying to allow 14-year-olds to drop out of school and work full-time. Enter the workforce at 14. And this is what he said in defense of his proposed legislation.
Most of my life, I've worked two jobs. Got up at 4:30 in the morning, went in and drove a concrete truck, and came home and showered and put my uniform on and went to work till midnight. What I learned is sleep is overrated. You can do what you decide you want to do. Somehow, my parents convinced me that this was not an either-or proposition. I was going to make my grades, and I was going to do whatever it took to do the other things I wanted to do. This is about priorities, and parents are going to make good decisions. But I can't tell you the number of times I got home from working somewhere late at night, and my parents didn't even know where I had been. I'd been helping some friend of my dad's paint barns or paint houses or do whatever. The reality is, people are going to do what they need to do to survive. And this is not an either-or proposition. Somehow I made grades, I graduated, everything ended up fine. It's not a bad bill. Vote for the bill. Thank you.
So the guy says in his thing that, I worked when I was young, and I worked late nights while I was in school, and I made it out okay. Sleep is overrated. He says the words, sleep is overrated, as he's talking about a bill to allow 14-year-olds to go to work. Just remarkable that you would be willing to say this in public as you're being filmed. That's wild to me that you're talking about 14-year-olds working and saying, sleep is overrated. It's not as if this is some of the most formative years of their life, physically and mentally and socially and spiritually and anything that you can think of. When you're a young person, you just don't need sleep. Instead of sleeping, you should be creating value for a capitalist. Absolutely, depraved and wicked and all of that. So yeah, there you go. Don't know what else to say about that other than thank God for Indiana because that's not happening in Alabama yet. So
Not yet.
Yeah,
not
not
yet.
yet.
They are probably listening intently.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.